My friends, the way we spend the first 20 minutes of our morning decides the tone of our entire day. Just like the first note in a beautiful song sets the melody for the rest, our mornings tune our thoughts, our energy, and our connection to the divine. We wake up every day, but are we truly waking up to life? Or are we just rising from the bed, still asleep in our spirit, in our awareness, in our purpose? There is one friend who never leaves us, one guide who never misleads us, and one presence who is closer to us than our breath. And that is God. If your first 20 minutes belong to the world, you'll spend your day chasing. But if they belong to God, you'll spend your day leading. Let us reclaim our mornings, and through them, reclaim our inner power. Most people wake up and instantly grab their phones. They check messages, notifications, the world's chores, and unknowingly invite stress as their first companion of the day. But the wise don't do that. The wise start the day not with noise, but with stillness. Not with comparison, but with gratitude. Not with deadlines, but with divine alignment. In just 20 minutes, if done consciously, you can elevate your mind, energize your body, align your soul, and invite divine wisdom to walk with you through every challenge. The secret is not about how much time you have, but how sacredly you use it. Today, I will share with you 7 powerful practices that can transform your mornings, and with them, your entire life. The first few seconds after we open our eyes in the morning carry a kind of quiet magic, often ignored, often rushed past. But if we look closely, we'll see that those moments are not just another part of our routine. They are a sacred opportunity. An opportunity to align ourselves not with the noise of the world, but with the calm wisdom of the divine. And that alignment begins with something so simple, yet so powerful: gratitude. Not the kind of gratitude we post about online, not the kind we remember only during celebrations or festivals, but a deeply personal, silent, and sacred gratitude towards God. Most people wake up and their hands immediately reach for the phone, their mind starts racing through tasks, and stress quietly slips in before even brushing their teeth. But imagine, instead, waking up and taking just a few seconds, to close your eyes again and say, "Thank you." No big ritual, no dramatic chant. Just a soft, sincere thank you from the heart to the one who gave you another sunrise, another chance, another breath. That moment of acknowledgement changes everything. It turns a regular morning into a sacred ceremony. You see, gratitude is not just a nice habit. It's a spiritual technology. It's a way of reminding our mind that we already have something valuable, something beautiful. The bed we slept in, the roof above our head, the fact that we woke up today without wires and machines keeping us alive. These are silent blessings we often overlook. And when we ignore those blessings, we unconsciously invite lack, complaints, and restlessness into our day. But when we notice them and honor them, even in our smallest ways, God begins to reveal more of His generosity to us. In daily life, gratitude has a ripple effect. Imagine you're driving through traffic. Everyone's honking, everyone's in a rush. If you started your morning by feeling thankful for your vehicle, your health, and even the privilege of having somewhere to go, you carry a different vibration. While others are frustrated, your energy is calm. Why? Because your day didn't begin with chaos. It began with connection. You remembered God before the world remembered you. And that memory of divine presence travels with you, silently influencing your reactions, your conversations, even your facial expressions. Think about how many people start their mornings with a frown. They carry the face of a prisoner, not a pilgrim. But those who begin with gratitude wear a different face. There's a gentleness in their tone, a spark in their eyes, a patience in their steps. They've already received something valuable that day, not from the world, but from within. And that inner receipt shows on the outside. There's an old saying, the things you take for granted, someone else is praying for. Every morning, someone is begging for the eyesight you woke up with. Someone is praying for the clean water you casually splash on your face. Someone is desperate for a roof, for a meal, for the peace of simply being healthy. And here we are, waking up with all those treasures in our pocket, yet too distracted to even say thank you. But when we do say it, when we whisper our gratitude to God, it doesn't lift us spiritually, it refines our character. It makes us humble. Because true gratitude kills ego. It tells you, you're not doing this alone. Your alarm didn't wake you up. Your soul was returned to your body by the one who never sleeps. Your lungs didn't fill themselves. They were gifted another breath by an unseen kindness. When this understanding becomes part of our mornings, life becomes less about struggle and more about surrender. And surrender, unlike giving up, is about giving in to the care of something higher. I once met a man who had everything: a high-paying job, a big house, luxury cars. But he was always irritated in the morning, complaining about meetings, traffic, staff delays. But one day, after a health scare, he began starting his mornings differently. Before even sitting up in bed, he would say, "Thank you, God, I'm still here." That one sentence shifted his mood, his mind, and his relationships. Within weeks, people noticed how peaceful he had become. His mornings had changed, not because of external situations, but because of a simple internal expression of gratitude. There is something extraordinarily sacred about the breath. It is so subtle, so constant, that we forget its power. We take it for granted until the moment we can't. But what if, instead of ignoring it, we embraced it? What if, for just a few minutes every morning, we breathed, not just to live, but to feel alive? What if we use first few moments after waking up to feel God as an idea, but as a presence within every breath? Your breath is not just air entering your lungs. It is spirit. It is the silent rhythm through which the divine whispers, "I am still with you." The world may not notice your waking. Your phone may not ring. Your friends may still be asleep. But God, He is awake, present, and patiently waiting for you to remember Him the moment your eyes open. And the easiest, most powerful way to feel His presence is through your breath. When you wake up, your body is still. Your mind is quiet, at least for a few seconds. That's when you have the most golden window to reconnect, not through fancy rituals or deep theology, just through awareness. You sit up in bed, close your eyes, and take one slow, intentional breath. Feel it coming in, feel it leaving. Then take another. And in that gentle flow, remind yourself, this breath is a gift. This breath is proof. I am not alone. God is with me. You see, we spend our days chasing what we think we need: success, validation, money, praise. But all these desires rise from a disconnected mind. A mind that forgot its source. When you start your morning by feeling God through your breath, something shifts. You begin the day from a place of fullness, not emptiness. From calmness, not chaos. From security, not scarcity. I remember meeting a woman who was always anxious, always on the move, juggling responsibilities, deadlines, and family obligations. Her mornings were filled with noise. The alarm, the kitchen, the kids, the inbox. But something happened during a silent retreat she attended. On the first morning there, instead of rushing, She sat in stillness, closed her eyes, and just breathed. For the first time in years, she didn't hear the sound of her tasks calling. She heard the sound of her own soul. And in that stillness, she felt something else, the presence of God, not in the clouds, not in temples, but in her breath. That moment didn't just calm her, it changed her. She told me later, I used to think peace came from finishing everything on my to-do list. Now I know it begins the moment I return to my breath. And that's the beauty of this simple practice. You don't need an hour, you don't need a mantra, you just need to pause, to feel, to remember. One conscious breath is all it takes to return to your center. To feel that God is not someone far away, but the very life force within you. The world wants us to hurry, but the soul wants us to return. And breath is the bridge. It takes us from the outside world into the inner one, from the demands of society into the presence of the divine. And the best time to cross that bridge is in the morning, when the world hasn't fully grabbed your attention yet, when you're still soft enough to feel, quiet enough to hear. Try it tomorrow. Sit up in bed, place one hand on your heart, the other on your abdomen, and take a deep, slow breath. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4. Do it just 3 times. And while doing it, silently say, God is with me. Say it not just with your mouth, but with your heart. Feel it. Believe it. Own it. You will be amazed at how something so small can shift something so big inside you. Breathe also teaches us balance. It teaches us surrender. When we breathe in, we receive. When we breathe out, we let go. Isn't that what life with God is about? Trusting Him to provide and trusting Him to release. Most of our stress comes from not knowing how to receive or let go. But the breath does both naturally. It reminds us that we don't have to force everything. We just have to flow. With grace, with awareness, with surrender. And when you carry that breath, awareness with you throughout the day, even difficult moments don't shake you the same way. When someone argues, instead of reacting, you pause and breathe. When a task overwhelms you, you close your eyes and return to your center. You remind yourself, I am not alone. I am not doing this by myself. The same God who gave me this breath will guide me through this day. And that's the real power of starting your morning with breath awareness. It doesn't just stay in the morning. It walks with you. It becomes your inner compass, your quiet anchor, your direct connection to God. Because while the world can take your time, your money, your attention, no one can take your breath unless you give it up. And as long as you are breathing, you are blessed, you are loved, you are connected. There is something remarkably powerful about what we choose to feed our mind first thing in the morning. The early hours are like fresh snow, untouched, unspoiled, ready to be walked upon. And just as the first footsteps become the only visible path on snow, the first thoughts in our morning shape the journey of our day. Our mind is tender and receptive when we wake up like soft clay. What we pour into it in those first minutes settles deeply and influences every decision, every emotion, every response. And that's why beginning your day by feeding your mind with divine wisdom is just important. It's transformational. The world will offer you many things to consume the moment you rising breaking news, urgent emails, social media feeds, gossip, fear-based headlines. But none of these give you peace. None of these anchor you. They fill your mind with worry, distraction, comparison. And sadly, many people let those voices shape their entire day. Women chosen. But those who choose to begin their day with spiritual nourishment, with timeless wisdom, with God-centered thoughts, they are not swayed by the noise of the world. They carry a different aura, a calm certainty, a still strength. Imagine waking up, lighting a small lamp, or even just sitting beside a window where the sunlight filters through, and opening a book filled with spiritual insight. Maybe it's a line from the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, or an inspiring life lesson from a saint. Even one sentence, if absorbed with the heart, can shift your entire perception. Let's say you read, "Peace comes not from the absence of problems, but from the presence of God within." That one line, if truly understood, can become your armor throughout the day. Let's say later in the afternoon, your colleague says something rude to you, or your plans start falling apart. Normally, you would react with irritation, frustration, or emotional exhaustion. But that morning line gently echoes in your mind, "Peace comes not from the absence of problems." You take a breath. You remember, your peace doesn't depend on perfect circumstances. It depends on your connection to something higher. That is the power of divine wisdom. It walks with you. It speaks when you forget. It calms you when you're on the verge of anger. It redirects you when the world tries to drag you into chaos. One time, a young man me told he would start his mornings by scrolling through news apps, convinced that staying informed was crucial, but he noticed that by 9 am, he already felt mentally heavy. Fearful of the economy, upset about politics, anxious about global disasters. And yet, none of those worries were helping him be a better husband, a kinder employee, or a more peaceful human being. He decided to experiment for 1 week. He replaced news feeds with a 5-minute read of spiritual wisdom. Small doses but meaningful ones. By the end of the week, he reported something extraordinary. He felt lighter. Not because problems vanished, but because his response to them had changed. He wasn't controlled by the noise. He was guided by the truth. Divine wisdom doesn't mean escaping the world. It means engaging with the world from a higher place. When you learn to feed your mind with uplifting truths in the morning, your thoughts no longer jump like monkeys from one fear to another. Instead, they become like rivers, flowing with purpose, moving steadily, and nourishing everything in their path. The world is full of information, but very little of it transforms. Only wisdom rooted in timeless truths, in the presence of the divine, has the power to rewire the mind and cleanse the heart. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to study volumes. You don't need to be a scholar. Even one simple quote, if meditated upon sincerely, can be enough. For example, "This too shall pass." A simple reminder, yes, but how powerful when remembered in the morning and carried through the day. There's a reason saints and sages emphasized satsang, the association with truth, especially in the early hours. Because what you associate with in the beginning of your day becomes your lens. If your first association is with wisdom, with God, with higher truths, then even if life throws dirt at you, your lens remains clean. People often say they don't have time in the morning. But it's not about time, it's about priority. Even 3 minutes of reading, if done with presence, can plant the right seeds. It's like watering a tree. It doesn't take a bucket. Just a small amount regularly is enough to keep it growing strong. So ask yourself, what am I feeding mind when I wake up? Is it stress or is it strength? Is it confusion or is it clarity? Because your mind is not just a container. It's a garden, and the seeds you plant in the morning determine what kind of fruits you harvest throughout your day. There's a hidden power in speaking your intentions to the universe. Not just thinking them, not just writing them down, but speaking them loud with clarity, with conviction, and with consciousness. The words you say in the first moments of your morning are like seeds. They fall into the soil of your day and silently grow into the experiences you attract. But there's a deeper dimension to it than just positive thinking. This is not about convincing the world. This is about aligning your heart with the higher will of God. It's about setting a tone that says, I am awake, I am aware, and I am ready to walk this day with divine guidance. When you wake up and say something like, today, I choose peace, you are not just saying a sentence. You are shifting the direction of your energy. You are declaring to yourself and to the universe that no matter what happens, traffic, interruptions, bad news, you will not be a slave to chores. You will return to the sanctuary within again and again, where peace is not a place but a presence. And when you say these things with a heart full of sincerity, it's not just your mind that listens. It's God who listens too. There is something sacred about the voice. It's not just sound, it carries vibration. And when the first vibrations you create in the day are rooted in purpose, in prayer, in partnership with God, you create a field around you. It's like sending out a spiritual signal. I'm awake, and I'm not walking this day alone. And the universe responds. Life responds, opportunities, patience, inner strength, all begin to move toward you because your words have aligned you with something far greater than routine. I once met a man who had a habit of starting his day with frustration. The moment his feet hit the floor, he would complain about the weather, the workload, the lack of sleep. He thought he was just being honest. But over time, he noticed something strange. His days always felt heavy. People around him seemed short-tempered. Things constantly went wrong. It was only when someone suggested he experiment with a different approach that his life began to shift. Instead of complaints, he started saying simple, conscious intentions every morning. I will be patient today. I will serve without pride. I will trust that God has a reason for everything. And it was incredible. Not because magic happened, be chosen, but because he changed, his energy changed. And so the world around him began to reflect that new inner clarity. Speaking intentions isn't about controlling life. It's about directing yourself. Because let's face it, the world is unpredictable. You can't guarantee every meeting will go well or that everyone will treat you kindly. But what you can control is your inner compass. And intentions are like the coordinates. They help you remember what really matters, especially when life tries to distract you. You might be wondering, what if I say something in the morning and then forget it halfway through the day? That's okay. You're human. But even if you forget the exact words, the vibration remains. Your subconscious mind remembers. Your soul remembers. And very often, at the moment you're about to lose your patience or feel overwhelmed, that morning intention echoes back. You said you wanted to remain calm. And suddenly there's a pause, a breath, a choice. That's the power of starting your day with conscious speech. It gives you choices during the chaos. And more than that, it invites God into your day. When you speak to the universe, don't just speak from your ego. Speak to the divine. Say, God, guide my words today. God, help me see people with compassion. God, I don't know what today holds, but I trust you walk ahead of me. These are not empty words. They are sacred whispers that activate your deepest intelligence. You're not just trying to survive the day. You're inviting the highest version of yourself to show up, led by the highest power that exists. A woman I once counseled had a habit of saying, I hope nothing goes wrong today. It sounds harmless, right? But even that is an energy of fear. I asked her to reframe it. Instead of focusing on what she wanted to avoid, she began saying, whatever comes today, I'll handle it with grace. That one change shifted her completely. Instead of living in fear of the day, she started living with faith. And that's what spoken intentions do. They shift you from fear to faith, from randomness to rhythm. So tomorrow when you wake up, don't just rush. Don't let the world grab your thoughts before you've even fully returned to your body. Sit up, take a breath, and speak into the silence. Say what you want to feel. Say who you want to be. Say how you want to live. Even if the words are small, speak them with presence. Today, I will love. Today, I will forgive. Today, I remember that God is bigger than my problems.